So hey everyone, Lenny here. Today I want to make a video about my spiritual awakening experience. You might want to sit down, relax. I'm not gonna do any fancy edit. It's just gonna be an authentic discussion, uh, just sharing my story. I want to put a disclaimer, it's not for everyone. It definitely isn't. But everything I'm about to tell you is absolutely true. I did not have um, yeah, basically you're gonna see it. Just listen and watch. So where to start? In 2021, I started a psychotherapy during COVID. You know, the lockdown was absolutely crazy. And it was during that time I figured, I realized there was many things wrong in my life. And it was time for me to start to heal them. So with my ex-partner at the time, uh, on her recommendation, I started a psychotherapy where I came forth and untangle, unbundle a lot of trauma from my life um, as a child and the dark side of me, I would guess. Yeah. And so I went through the sessions, learning to reconnect with myself, emotions, and to heal the wounds and the experiences I had in my life, essentially. So as the therapy went on, I started to see life from a different light, a different way, seeing things differently, not being afraid of voicing myself, standing up more for myself, and observing more the environment, the interactions. I felt those shifts truly within me. And so I started the journey taking care more of myself, started journaling, started reading psychology books about traumas, how to grow up from them and move on. I started the path to forgive my parents because at the time I was such in a mindset, of a, I would say, a victim mentality mindset where I said life was happening to me. I was very angry with my parents and was really not moving from anywhere, somewhere. So as time progressed in 2022, I felt better. I would find myself more in the present moment and I would start meditating also at times. And this is where my life started to drastically change and accelerate, and my spiritual awakening would take hold. I would say I think it was in February 2022, around the time where Russia invaded Ukraine. I was at my ex's parents' place because we had to place this apartment and we were doing renovations. And during that time, the renovations, it was impossible for us to stay in the condo, so we were staying at her parents' place. And I had uh, what I would later understand as God actually speaking to me. A first vision of a nuclear bomb detonating. I didn't see it in that meditative state, but I felt it. Like I felt all of a sudden sort of a pressure wave engulfing my body and the heat. This is where I started to feel. Um, it was very interesting and curious as an experience, and I was also very anxious about the situation. Putting with Vladimir Putin making all these claims about essentially blowing up the world if the West will dare to intervene. So I kind of bought into it. And I went on. I didn't think much of it for a couple of months. I was very focused and, scrolling mindlessly on Twitter, X, whatever, about the news, the war in Ukraine, and also COVID. Here in Quebec, we had so many lockdowns. I think most of the lockdowns in the world. So yeah, mentally it was probably a bit tough. It was not an easy place. So time went on progressively, and through the end of the year, I would say at the end of 2022 in December, I had some. At the time, I was a software developer in a big company, and we were giving off 2 weeks off for the holiday season. And essentially, at the time, I was just taking care of myself, the house, finishing touch-ups with the home renovations, whatever. But I would find myself more and more just meditating, relaxing. At the end of the day, and this is where my awakening came in a big way. So you see, I'm going to start with this. Time is an illusion. And time, Einstein was right, time is relative to the observer. Let me explain this. So in my awakening, I died because the reality that I experienced as consciousness, World War III was happening. It is pretty consistent to what my research has led me so far to try to understand about what is reality, consciousness, etc. So I would find at random situation, I would find myself, playing on the computer in my home office, and all of a sudden, there is no word to describe that. It was essentially from where I'm living, so here in Montreal, being nuked. Like, being nuked. And you don't really have the time to process it. That it happens so fast, like in an instant, you're gone. Like, I remember the sensation of the wall. I had obviously my computer desk and the wall behind it. It was a brick wall. Just blowing away on my face. And you don't have time. It goes so fast, your body doesn't have time to process the pain. It's afterwards that you understand what happened. And it's in that moment I realized I'm not this body. Like, I'm the consciousness or the awareness or something else, the spirit behind it. I was still able to think and to realize and understand, holy shit, I just died there. But my consciousness would come back in time because I come into different moments back in time. I don't know why. There is a reason, obviously, but I don't know why. And I re-experience the events during some sort of that period. It's still quite entangled, disorganized. I'm writing a book about that and how to, process how the events unfolded, because the timeline would collapse and, going back in time and reliving some events and experiences is unsettling. I remember on multiple occasions. In total, I died 31 times. 31 to a bomb. I would at times remember there was this incident we were watching the Chernobyl series on Netflix with my ex-partner, and I would fiddle around very specifically because the nerd that I am, we had this home server where the series was stored, and I was doing very specific tasks like setting up proper, for the nerds out there, I was setting up, allocating resources on a computer time on a Docker Kubernetes cluster for an application, and I was, entering specific parameters. Like, I wasn't hallucinating the thing. I closed. So we were in our bedroom. I shut off the TV, closed my iPad where I was doing the configuration, and all of a sudden, boom, a nuke. There was this time I was just in my car driving, going to the grocery store, and I just died. There were times also I remembered, because every time that I would feel from my consciousness, something within me, that voice, maybe from my soul, from God, telling me that I was about to die, it was about to be the end of the line, I would simply drive out and escape the city, trying to make sense of what was happening and trying to flee the city, but I would always end up dying. There was this time where I took the car. I told my ex-partner at the time we had to leave. Like something very bad is going to happen. We have to leave. We went to into the woods, an hour away from Montreal, in a cottage that my parents have, and we tried to escape, and we died on the way there. So I would try to make sense and to understand every time. I would come back in time and always into this specific period at the end of December, in that period, in that holiday season where I was in a pure state of bliss. Like I was so relaxed, rested, and every time I would go into this meditation, I would have the voice of God trying to help me remember what had happened from a different universe, and I had to take a decision to escape it. I had, all the synchronicities. I would be seeing 111. I would be seeing messages through TikTok. I would be seeing on the timelines where I would fail to act and take the proper decision. I would see tarot cards, tarot reading, telling me, seeing the death card, seeing 666, telling me that I was about to die, the end of the line, but that would be okay. It would be a rebirth. Like I would get to take another chance, to come back to that. You might be wondering, it doesn't make sense. In my reality, it haven't happened, and how do I even got away from it? I'm gonna come back to that. First, I'm gonna explain my dark night of the soul and how I break out of the cycle. So in a different reality, on a different timeline, I was trying to make people around me understand about myself. If I was going crazy, I was not. I came back to my psychologist. I would explain everything to her. I would even ask her a question. Am I losing my mind? Am I being schizophrenic? And she would give me that very honest answer and said, no, I don't think you are honest, but maybe try to understand that the way we understand how thoughts come up can be very unsettling. Like you can lose yourself a lot in that. So I would continue about my day, and through the month of January, and in January I would remember bits here and there. I've already seen that movie, I've already experienced that. I remember having the same struggle at work, like the specific tasks, with the meetings I would have with teams around the world and everything. And it's on February 6th that this feeling came up very strongly after an event that happened at work. I had my tuition telling me I've seen that already, so I know what's going to happen. It did happen, and in that moment, it all clicked, and I said, today, in the reality that I'm in, World War III is going to break out. I got to get out of there, one way or another. So I went up to my ex-partner, and I said to her straight up, as crazy as it sounds, either you come with me, or I leave you on the spot, and I just delta out of the city. I just know I gotta do it. It was very toxic. Obviously, she was very upset, understandably. But I still did it. Took my car, contacting my dad, saying that I need your place. I remember you had a place in the woods out of the city. I'm going there. I want to meet you there at this time, and I'm off. For the whole trip, obviously, everyone was calling me left and right, trying to reach me. What's going on? You're going crazy. You're losing your mind. And I was like, I have this deep feeling. It's what I need to do. And I ran into the most synchronicities I have ever witnessed in my life. The most positive synchronicities. Like, I left in the afternoon on a Monday afternoon. There was absolutely no traffic. Every traffic light was green for some reason. Like, it was just a smooth road, straight road for everything, up until I reached the cottage place of my parents into the woods. So I got off the car. I walked up to the house. It was the first time I was going to this house because I wasn't in good terms up until this point with my parents. It was the first time I came up to this house, but I had this feeling. I've had already been in it and seen it. So I walked around, felt the place, felt the energies, and something was telling me, this is there. You gotta stay there. I had my ex-partner calling me like crazy, arguing on the phone, insulting me, very toxic, but she was obviously very upset, right? I do not resent her for that. And as I was, because my dad still wasn't there, and it was pretty cold. It was in the middle of the winter, Canadian winter. So I got back up in my car, and as I was about to drive, as soon as I started the engine on, my dad arrived, and we just said, "Okay, let's get inside." I walked over, arrived in the kitchen, and everything started to come back within me. I remembered about the times where, in other realities, I already came to that house, trying to escape the Armageddon, the apocalypse. We went to the living room, lit a fire by the chimney, and I sat in the. It's a fun synchronicity again, but as I realized, I noticed that I sat in the exact same chair I was sitting with whenever I would see my psychologist in therapy, the exact green chair, and I took it as a sign I'm at the right place at the right time. This is it. And I just spoke to my father and told him everything, like what Einstein said about, you know, theory of relativity, the theory of the multiverse, the theory of Schrodinger, who is who was a physicist, you know, exploring and experimenting about theories, quantum physics, and he was believing that there was other universes, other realities than this quote unquote this one that we are experiencing right now. We spoke for 3 hours by the fire, uncovered everything. He was just there listening to me and probably in awe because all of a sudden I would come up to him and tell him all of that. We had a good dinner, and I basically went to bed and tried to put some sleep. So I went into the room, put some music on, just to relax after all the events that had unfolded throughout the day. And the apocalypse happened. My consciousness was experiencing two realities at once. One reality where humanity had chosen to destroy itself, and the other where everything was fine. I was seeing mushroom clouds exploding into the distance, hearing sirens, fire trucks roaming around the place. There was a fire station not far from the house, and I could hear them going back and forth in everywhere. I could hear planes, helicopters, and even my father downstairs shouting in French, "Oh putain," like can consider it in English as "be damned," because World War III was happening outside. I was mortified in my bed. I couldn't process what was happening. And I could hear God's voice telling me, "You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Don't worry. Save yourself, save your family, help them, help people around, and try to remember who you are, what you came here to do." I had a very difficult night that night. So the apocalypse was happening. On one reality, the electricity went out. People were just panicking. At some point, I got up and looked through the window, trying to, understand. And I was experiencing those both realities at once. I was seeing at the same time everything was fine. There was electricity. The sky was clear. It was a clear night. And on the other, I could see the mushroom clouds and the lights. Yeah. I went back into my bed, and I just couldn't process what was happening again. So I just escaped, as I used to do, and opened TikTok. And I could see very specific messages from my guides telling me what was happening. This is where I understood, the realization of what is existent, the reality, and I tried to go back to sleep. I experienced death by nuclear fallout on one reality. The way I described it is I felt this metallic taste, earthly metallic taste from nuclear fallout. I don't even know. You can't even compare to what it tastes, because if you taste that, you're dead. So yeah, that was interesting. I'm gonna leave the rest of the details because for me, maybe YouTube's gonna flag it. I don't know. I woke up the next day having barely put any sleep time, and I was just walking in this pure state of bliss. Everyone was just so loving, caring. I couldn't believe I was finding myself into another reality, and I made it. And you're probably wondering, why is it that this time you survived and not died? It's because I had to, for my life, in order for my life to move forward, I had to let go of things. And that thing I had to let go was the relationship that I was in. Otherwise, my life was not moving on. It's still probably like part of the manifesting adjust plan of my life. We all have plans in our lives. To the way I understand it, to my abilities today. But that's what I had to do to move on. Simply. And I'm on my way to live my best life, experience my best life ever. God came up to me the next night and said, "What do you want now? You can create absolutely the life of your dreams." I said, "Okay." I took some time. Obviously, the very next day, I quit my job on the spot. There was absolutely no possibility for me to go back to the way. No, it was too much. I could have lived for an entire month. It was, no, stop, hold on a second. And yeah, that's what happened. I would say, after living all this in this experience and walking down that spiritual path and trying to understand what is reality and who I am, discovering myself, I can tell you for one thing: war is so useless. Really, we could all create the life that we want and enjoy pure abundance, love, peace, as God would just want us to chill, simply chill. Being violent, shooting ourselves, each other, blowing yourself up, serve no purpose. The way I see it now, because obviously it's been almost a year since these events unfolded, so I've done my my walk, into this spiritual path. The way I see reality is there's truly a universe within you. Like we just project our consciousness, and everyone you see around is just like a reflection of you. Like could be a mirror, a game of mirrors. So right now I'm in my own reality. Obviously, you are seeing this video and watching this message, but you could be on your very own reality. Like it's a bit difficult to explain at the moment, and one day I'm going to be able to explain it in a much clearer way, but it's all a game of mirror. What I experience obviously isn't what you have experienced, and maybe some of you have had crazy experiences. I came up across this video. It was about people picture this guy as a crazy, but now I understand what he went through. I believe he had an awakening as well. He was on, you can look up probably the video. It was back in January 2023. On this flight, he said he was about to die in this plane crash. And for him, it was the 6th time he was about to die. And he was stuck in this time loop where people, obviously other people were not, reacting. But to him, it was the 6th time he was boarding the plane and he would die across the plane. So he freaked out. To other people, it just looked like, this guy is crazy. But to him, he was probably about to die. It's just that consciousness is forever. Like there's an infinite amount of reality, universes, physical 3 dimensions, reality stacked on top of each other, and we just interact ourselves through mirrors, the way I see it. It was pretty deep. I will probably make another or maybe more series about the videos in detail if that interests you, about the lives I've experienced and how I was stuck in this time loop paradox. But yeah, that's my story. That's why I quit my job on the spot, and I'm working on my dreams now to live the life that I want. In the meantime, I'm always curious to what you guys have to say, so don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel for more content about my journey and spiritual knowledge, spiritual wisdom, and see you around. Peace.